Michael. Thank you, Vivian. And thank the Minister in her absence. I'm in the awful position of the last speaker. Everything that I wanted to say has been said. Of course, that's my excuse. But I'll say something anyway that might be of interest, and that I hope will be of interest to people. The last time I stood at this podium was in 2012 when we were reporting on our first year of operation. And I said that day that we were in transition from coming out from under the wing as a division of business in the community where we had been for 10 years previously, to being a standalone operation, company limited by liability, and I think the preferred route for our funders to have taken in terms of a more direct interaction between the leadership and the staff of the probation service and the prison service with ourselves, and it has worked extremely well. So from that beginning, when we reported on our first year of operation, I'm delighted to say now that we have evolved. The transition is over. We have reached what the scientists call the steady state situation, where we now have a clear path, a clear charter. We have a mandate to subscribe to, which is that we support utterly the joint strategies of the prison service and the probation service in their work, and contribute in the community to exercising all of the influences that our training and employment officers around the country can exert on employers and training and education facilities, so that we can assist the reintegration, as Michael has spoken about, of former offenders into society. And we are, I think, well on the road now in terms of what we're going to do. Now, the report is a fine piece of work. It has a lot of very useful statistics. I'm not going to recite them for you. They've been portrayed on the slides all morning, and they have been mentioned by a number of the previous speakers. But the record is substantial for the 2 years that we're reporting on. And I will just give, it indicates that in those 2 years, there were over 5,000 people were worked with, and there were interventions in their lives for good, and we're delighted to report on that. In terms of the placements themselves, they're well set out in the report, but it's worth saying that Paddy, in the text in the report, talked about a movement, an improvement in the various sectors that traditionally had taken our clients, an increase in that. And employment is the particular barometer that we try and track all the time. And in the 2 years that we're talking about, 36% of the placements were put into employment. And I looked up the minutes of our second board meeting, which covered the first and second quarter of 2015. And that 36% has grown to 45%. So there is life out there, and we are getting our share of it. And I think the best we ever had in terms of people who are being placed in employment was about 52%, if I remember right. So, we're heading back to what we would regard as the reasonable expectation of placing people in normal times. So it's a credible performance, and when you add in the community returns work and the resettlement work, the total number of people with whom interventions took place in those 2 years was over 5,000, and that is a significant achievement. That time we said, when I stood here before you, we said that our task was to develop our relationships with our funders in the first instance, and with all of the community and business organizations out there who were sources of employment and assistance to us in terms of training and education. And the objective was deepening those relationships, and I'm happy to report that that has happened. At every level, I think we have excellent relationships with all of the people with whom we interact, and that is critical for our training and employment officers who are at the coalface to be able to optimize the arrangements and the solutions and the assistance for the clients that come their way. And I think that's very important. The difficult times continue. Funding has been mentioned euphemistically by some. but I'm now making my annual plea for more money, because essentially we are constrained by the resources that the two funding agencies are enabled to put our way, and they do their very best to give the maximum amount of financial support, but we want to sustain the level of service that we're delivering. We also want to expand it and take on these new areas that are being sent our way and deal with them adequately and comprehensively. And resources are the primary key to success like that. But we are conscious of the difficulties that our funders are in, and I know and I am sure that they do their best for us in the circumstances. Now, we always speak a little bit on value for money, and when I stood before you before that long time ago, the cost per placement in terms of what our budget covered was 1,152 euros. Now, I did a little bit of quick arithmetic. Paddy hates giving me numbers because I always play around with them. And I have now established that in the current placement, it is about 965 euros per placement. So that is, it is a value for money by any standard. And how was that achieved? Obviously, our growth, and there were scale issues and scale elements helping. We are getting more and more referrals, and we have to deal with them, and our staff isn't growing incrementally to correspond with that, so we're dealing with a larger workload with the same team. And Paddy, of course, has a very sore right hand because he spends his time squeezing the lemon and trying to get more money, more output out of the budgets that we get. I remember saying at the time that it's more for less. I think it's much more for much less. But anyway, really, it is a trend that's going in the right direction, and I think it represents for Damien and the government and the ministers that are evaluating the allocation in the budget of resources and funds from time to time to put the money where you get a bang for the buck and where there is a good, tangible and measurable return and outcome. So my appeal is finished. I have to say, that's a terrible phrase, I'm delighted to mention our board, because our board is a very special group of people, strong and enthusiastic in their commitment to us. Each member of the board has some association with either the criminal justice system or with our community activities and community systems. And we are very, very pleased that we have such a powerful board. The synergies are there to manifest to everybody, and we have our funding representatives, of course, on our board also, and they can see it for themselves, Menely and Brian, there to see that the way the synergies emerge and evolve and the issues are dealt with. It makes my job very easy as a chairman, I must admit. Now, everybody has spoken about the need for partnerships and the need for relationships, and I think the primary relationship for us is with our funders, and I think that, as I said earlier, has worked and is continually evolving. But we have the training and educational bodies out there, the old vocational committees and elements in each local authority, and the training bodies. They help enormously, because the 46% that are in employment, there's an obverse of that of 54% who are either in training or furthering their education to make them more competitive in the labour market, so that the more prepared our clients are, the better chance they have